called MS Dhoni and Anil Kumble, a name that I can't say on this.
Called them, I'm going to run through you bastards. I retired in 2008. I was trying to save a marriage. My second wife was more supportive.
With those cheerleaders in the IPL, managed to take them up to the hotel room.
No.
Virat Kohli, do you think he'll win an IPL?
If he goes to Calcutta Knight Riders, he will.
Oh, come on.
But the thing with Victory, if you actually watch it, it was a really good movie up until they had the cricket scenes. It said, Sachin, can you sign this, please? Well bowled, Hoggy. This will never happen again. Sachin Tendulkar. And it hasn't.
Hello, guys. Yet another Unwind on cricket.com. It's a Chinaman from Australia. I'm not going to say any more. Let's just start the show. So Brad, basically we're just going to, of course, unwind with you on cricket.com today and ask you a different bunch of questions about your career. Some controversial, some not so controversial, some fun. So you can choose which ones you can leave outside off stump. I'm pretty sure you've had the habit of doing that. So you can choose which ones, you feel not comfortable with, because I'll put you under the test. Just say.
Yeah, go for it.
Brad Hogg, welcome to the show, first of all. And I feel like many people have misconstrued you over the years to be Brad Hodge. Is that only Lakshman Shivaraman Krishnan, or is it more than just him?
Oh, it's more than just him, yeah.
First and foremost, thanks for doing this, because you're joining us from the most remote city in the world. Why is Perth known as the most remote city in the world?
Well, I think the closest civilization is probably Singapore or Bali, rather than the other couple of cities over the other side of Australia. So that's probably why it's called the remote city, most remote city in the world.
But not remote in terms of producing legends. Perth, of course, has you, the Gilly. You look at Mitch Marsh also today. Do you think you're one of the finest to come out from Perth?
No. Well, you got to be careful with Adam Gilchrist, because he was produced actually over in New South Wales, and he's probably one of the cricketers that changed the face of the game, having a batter keeper that can just dominate down that lower order. So, he's had a superb career, and it was just fantastic to be able to play alongside of him. I'm just very fortunate to be able to play alongside the likes of Adam Gilchrist, Ricky Ponting, Damien Martin, and Matthew Hayden, Glenn McGrath, Shane Warne on the odd occasion. So I can't complain with my career.
How do you look back at that? The fact that you, did so many things in your career, and I don't know where to stop. Even the BBL at 48 or whatever was ridiculous, right?
Yep. Oh, look, I just love the game. I wanted to play for as long as I possibly could. I retired in 2008. I was trying to save a marriage. I was probably not mature enough in that particular department to pick the right wife. It's not a matter of the relationship as such, blaming her or blaming me. Important decision that you can make in your life is making sure that you get your partner correct. Because if you select the wrong partner, you're going to have a lot of problems, and it's going to affect other things in your life. So that's probably the biggest lesson that I've learned. My second wife was more supportive, but she was more understanding. She's been in the entertainment game for a long period of time, since she was 20 years of age. Whereas my wife before had no understanding of sport, no understanding of what it was like to be in a sport team and to travel, have a partner that travels. And it created such an unstable dynamic within that marriage. So you got to make sure that you create that good space. When I go out, I'm a really good listener, but when I come home, I'm worn out and I'm not the best listener. So when it comes to love language, I've got to learn to listen more. I think the other thing is too, I got really comfortable with Cheryl, who I'm married to now. When you have those long-term relationships, you've got to make sure that you're trying to add something new to the dynamic where it gives that partnership a bit of a spark. So for me, I'm finding that right now. What can I do to change up the dynamic to surprise my wife? She's always surprising me, but I've got to reciprocate. So hopefully I can take her over to America at some stage, which is disappointing for me because I want to go to St. Petersburg in Russia.
We'll come to your particular destinations that you want to travel or you've traveled to. What is it with the Aussie guys and the taste of music in the dressing room in your playing day as well. Who was the DJ? Could you give us some details on that?
Yeah, Brett Lee in the 2003 World Cup was the DJ. Andrew Simons liked his country music. And for me, I can go and enjoy any type of music. I can go from opera to heavy metal to a little bit of rap.
Bollywood?
To also country music as well. What was that?
Bollywood?
Bollywood. I've even tried a little bit of Bollywood music. Been in a Bollywood film. That was quite embarrassing, actually.
I was going to ask you about that.
So for me,
sorry to interject, Brad, because I have to ask you that right now because you brought it up because of the fact that essentially you bowled to so many great batters, right? You're talking Lara, Ganguly, Sachin Tendulkar. Think you got Virat Kohli, yeah. But Vijay Shekhawat in the movie Victory, how the hell did that happen?
Brett Lee played a big part in that, but Brett needed some mates to go along with him, so he asked me to come along. Yep, no, that was fine. That was fantastic. It was a great experience, and I probably should have taken it a little more seriously than I did, because I remember there was an important scene where I was bowling to a particular actor, but I'm talking to the producers. And then go back and bowl, and all of a sudden I'm taking the mickey out of the actor, because every scene he had to take his helmet off, get a little bit of makeup on, get his hair done, and then do it again. So for me, bowling an over in 2 minutes instead of 2 hours was quite difficult for me. So the patience wasn't there. So I was having problems with the producer and director. But the thing with Victory, if you actually watch it, it was a really good movie up until they had the cricket scenes. Because Stuart Clark had bowled a delivery, then all of a sudden he's fielding it on the boundary in a real game. And the same thing happened to me. I was bowling it, and a couple of times it's just gone over my head as I'm fielding on the boundary with my floppy hat on. So that's probably where Victory sort of lost its power as such. But it had a great storyline.
Speaking of victories, you enjoyed two, of course, the memorable ones. 2003 in South Africa, winning that ODI World Cup, and then you did it 4 years later in the Caribbean, 2007. And that, again, goes back to say that Australian team was just so fucking good, Brad. Sorry for the explicit.
I think the difference between us and India at that stage was our athleticism in the field. But when you talk about bat and ball, it was very even. So that's where we had the advantage. But I think also we were close and knit as a team. So we were working on different fielding strategies to make sure that we were able to help ourselves out, because we knew that was going to be our big advantage. And if you look at it, we probably saved 30, 40 runs every game. Then all of a sudden I'm thinking, right, Shane Warne, and you could just tell with the rest of the team, there were a couple of people there that were thinking, right, we haven't got Shane Warne, we're in a bit of trouble here. Okay, it's not going to be easy because Warney's not here now. This spinner knows what he's doing. One of my big strengths is I always love that competition. I want to be in the fight. I was looking for dot balls, dot. And when the moment came that there was I'd built up enough pressure, then I might think about going for the wicket. But other than that, if you're going to get wickets, it's just all about building pressure.
No, and I agree, absolutely agree with you when you say that. But just coming back to those World Cups, Brad, two great wins, like I said, which party was better? Because we've heard it with the Australian team, how crazy they are, especially when they have attained success. And the drinking culture is well documented as well. So how much was too much, especially in your playing day? Because all of them were magicians, but I'm guessing all of them were also ooh.
When you go back to that particular period of time, we weren't drinking every night. It was a select few nights that we would go out and enjoy ourselves. That's when we knew that we had a bit of a break leading up to the next game. If we won a game, we'd celebrate, and we'd celebrate hard. But we would do it in conjunction with knowing when our next game is and who the opponent is. And we weren't taking any team lightly. We wanted to make sure that we went out there and just played each ball on its merits and made sure we put that opposition on toast. So there's no recipe for a whole team. Each individual has got a different recipe. So for me, I couldn't drink that much. It affected me in such where I'd get too involved in the nightlife, and it would take me away from the focus. So I knew what made me tick, and my teammates knew what made me tick, and we always made sure that we helped each other out and not forcing people to do something that they didn't want to do or wasn't best for them to be able to perform on that particular tour.
Is that the same in the IPL then? Because obviously we from the outside as fans think that some of the cricketers, especially the fringe players who are not getting a game, tend to have the ability to go get wasted somewhere, maybe not in the hotel, but somewhere out.
Again, it goes down to the particular individual, but this is where cricket can be very difficult, especially in a tournament like the IPL. So if you're a player that's on the fringe and you're not playing playing too many games, and you know that you're not going to play too many games, and what happens then is you socialise too much, you're not training as hard as you should be, and then all of a sudden you leave the IPL, you go to your next tournament, and you're behind the eight ball because you haven't been putting that preparation in, you haven't been looking after yourself to be prepared for that next tournament. So that's the danger of IPL, because it's a 2.5 month tournament. I reckon your mental strength can last for about 15 days. An IPL is a big tournament, and it's tough because you've got all these players coming in from different cultures. Yeah, just to try and get everyone to gel within 2 months is very, very difficult.
Yeah, there's a lot of pedals for the players, especially in a tournament like the IPL. And I just wanted to ask you, have you ever been put in a spot of bother? Like, for example, you're at a hotel bar and there've been some beautiful Indian ladies trying to kind of, getting more than just an autograph with you. Where does a player needs to know to stop, and how do they do that?
Oh yeah, we've been warned about it. I think firstly, getting divorced for the first time makes you not get too comfortable in those particular areas. I make sure that if I go to a bar, and if I was single, I wouldn't want to take a lady home from that particular scenario. It's more an event where you're at a party and you're around friends that you actually know. Then you've got a better understanding of the people that you're involved with. So I probably a little bit of a different. You've just got to make the right decisions, and it's bloody hard when you're a youngster. I look at Sarfraz Khan. How old Sarfraz? How old is Jaswell? How old is Shubman Gill? That they're young players that are on the big stage, have just done extremely well against England, and all of a sudden their status in society over in India has just gone from here to here. So they've got to be very wary when they go out now. So my wife Cheryl is over there in the IPL, and we've got all the dancers back in the day there. All the Western dancers were there, and I'm dancing with the girls there, and everyone's going, "Hoggy, what's going on here?" And my wife's over there encouraging me to do it. Then I've got my shirt off doing the DJing that night. You talk about the behaviour of the of guys. My wife was pushing me in there and just go and be yourself, type scenario, and that's having trust, but also having enjoyment, and being able to let your hair down as well.
Just want to ask you a little bit more about the IPL, Brad, because essentially you still are the oldest player to play in the IPL. 44 years, I think it was, 2015. Praveen Tambe was in the squad, but he didn't get the game. So officially, you still are the grandpa of the IPL. We're not going to make you feel too old.
I think one of the funny things is I think the best thing for IPL for me was bringing the cultures together. And I think it was probably Gautam Gambhir. I was playing for Rajasthan Royals. Shane Watson was bowling. I was fielding out short flying leg. Watto's just bowled a ball. I think he's beaten Gautam Gambhir 2 times in a row. And all of a sudden, Watto's given the stare, and I'm out short third man, and I decide I'll give him 2 bobs worth as well. Then I get to bowl, then I'm fielding out deep mid-off in front of the Kolkata dugout, and Gautam said something to me, and so, all right, he's joking, so I say something back to him, and then he says something back to me, and I'm thinking, right, he's a bit serious. And all of a sudden, one of our bowlers is bowling, and I'm sort of on the advertising board giving it to him, and so the ball's being bowled, and I'm still giving it to him, not taking any note of what's happening out in the middle. And then about a year and a half later, I get a call. Do you want to play for Kolkata Knight Riders? Gautam Gambhir wants you to come over. And I said, what do you mean he wants me to come over? I thought he didn't like me. Yeah, we need a spinner, a foreign spinner. So he wants you to come over. And Gautam and I got on really well. A lovely bloke. And I think it's the same with Harbishan Singh and Andrew Simons. They played together at the Mumbai Indians. And I think that's a great thing with IPL. We're all human. We love the game of cricket. But when we go out in the middle, we play hard, but we play fair. When we get off, let's just catch up and let's be mates.
But
that was in a private.
But what was it was with those cheerleaders in the IPL, did the players really get to chat with them post-match? Did few manage to take them up to the hotel room, dare I say?
No. No, that's all. That's it, each individual's to themselves. There was no real space where we're in the same hotel or anything like that. I think this was only one event where we had cheerleaders that were over there. It was on a rooftop bar. They were staying at a different hotel, but it was just a function that everyone that was working in the IPL in that particular region, these individuals, even though they're making, some of them are making good money in cricket, some aren't making good money in the IPL, but they're making better money than what they would have been doing. But at the end of the day, they're just human beings. And every now and then they are going to make the wrong choices.
You spoke about essentially the perils of IPL, the dangers. One of the biggest perils as well from the outside apparently is if there's any fixing going on, right? And obviously you've been part of the Rajasthan Royals, and I don't know when that happened, when you were there and what you made of it at that point in time and they got the suspension. Can you clear the doubts of all the cricket fans watching this right now that IPL is not fixed and people are just going to get emotional and say anything on social media and be like, this game was fixed, bro. They threw that match away. Do you think that actually exists? If it does, I mean, what's the point of watching cricket?
Oh, yeah, look, I think a lot of people make assumptions now with what happened back in with the Rajasthan Royals there. It's always easy to say, oh, gee whiz, they should have won that. How'd they lose that game? And playing other types of fantasy league games as well. If you invested in it and you're expecting to win something from it, you are going to have a bigger biased opinion that something was fixed because it didn't go your way and you lost that bit of skin. Those particular scenarios where there's a huge gap between the poor and the wealthy, and someone gets an opportunity that they've thought they'd never ever get to make a quick buck, and they know that they're probably not going to play international cricket, I can see how you can get roped in that particular aspect. I've got more heart for those particular people that get caught into it because that they see all the riches everywhere else. But when you're on the different side of it and you come from a wealthier background, that's where I really get upset with it, because you're taking an opportunity when you don't need to take that opportunity. And I'll go back to the scenario with the Rajasthan Royals. There were 2 games there where 2 of the bowlers went for 12 runs, and I was sitting next to the coach out at the time, and it was their second over of their spell. And the first ball, sort of both looked at each other, what was that? And then they just bowled a ripping rest of the over. We didn't think much of it until they got arrested. So yeah, it's just one of those scenarios. So I didn't know till the next day. I slept through the whole stuff. So I had no concern. I was sleeping peacefully. So I didn't find out till the next
And
day when
who
we got on
broke
the
the
bus.
news to you?
It was broken to me on the bus because I just said, "Oh, where's doorknob?" I won't know. I won't name names, but I was, where's doorknob? Doorknob's not coming with us, and I had to wait for another hour to be told what actually had happened the night before. So this is where it's very hard to. It's easy to assume, and don't really make that full assessment of the particular scenario.
It's actually insane when you think about it, but well explained, Brad. Just want to take your mind back to 2008 then really quickly, because you mentioned Harbhajan and Simons, but Sydney Test, the Sydney Gate, your highest test score, 79. But what stands out from that game is that you have literally called MS Dhoni and Anil Kumble, a name that I can't say on this particular podcast. Why was that? And you know what you call them.
Look, things were how can I put it? Sachin Tendulkar. Sachin Tendulkar. What a legend. But he was starting to annoy me while he was batting, because I was out the top of my mark, ready to bowl. I just want to get through my overs, and he was making me take my time. And the umpire said something about we're behind the over rate. I said, well, get them to face up when I'm out the top of my mark, please. And he wouldn't. And then at the end of the over, I was a little bit frustrated in a sense because I wasn't bowling as well as I had been the previous test match. And also there was a bit of pressure there because we're going to Perth the next test match. And I really wanted to play on my home ground. So what that meant was I had to pick up wickets out the SCG, which was more conducive to spin. So I was putting that extra pressure on myself. So I wasn't staying in the moment. They had worked me over, and I stuffed up because I didn't control my emotions at that stage. And that's where I blew up, and I called them, I'm going to run through you bastards type scenario.
But bastards is normally not a bad thing in Aussie language, right? It's just normal slang there for you guys.
Yeah, well, it's times have changed now. we're going in a real woke world at the moment, so times have changed now. You've got to be careful what you say. But the funny thing was, we're doing that movie out that same time, Victory, and I'd been reported, and they said, "Oh, we want you to sledge the actor." I said, well, I've just been reported for sledging. And they said, what did you say? I said, I called them bastards. Oh, that doesn't affect us in India. Just call him bastard, And it's like, okay, where do I stand? But that whole funny thing with it all is it's disappointing with what happened between the two countries in that particular aspect of it, because
But what do you
both
put it
teams...
down to? Was it Steve Buckner just having an absolute howler of a series? Andrew Simmons, I mean, absolutely love him. Absolutely love him. God bless him. But at that point in time, we hated him. He was enemy number one. And so many times where he just clearly nicked it, Brad, and he didn't walk. And I was just like, why the fuck am I missing my math exam for this shit?
Well, mate, I was out the other end when he nicked it. And Buckner go, did you hear anything? I said, no, I didn't hear it. Did it move off the bat? He goes, I can't see. So we get told not to walk. So that's the thing. The umpire's there to do a job. And sometimes it's disrespectful to the umpire who's made the decision to walk. So if you look at baseball, American baseball, you do something out there after the umpire's made the call, but you've gone, oh, that pitch was a strike, and walk off. That umpire's not going to look after you for the rest of the season because you've disrespected him. And I think that's something that could happen in cricket, because there's some times where you get given out where you're not out. And I think if you went through every series between India and Australia over the last 20 years, I think it would even out pretty well. the matchup between decisions that went for you and went against you, I'd say they pan out fairly similar.
Okay, fair enough. I was actually going to ask you a little bit more about your test career because you played your first test, Brad, in Delhi, 1996. I think you got Ganguly out as your first test wicket. You also actually got him out as your second last test wicket ever. Fun fact there. But then you played, I think, your second test in 2003. 78 tests later is what I've been told, which is still the current record from an Australian test perspective. Talk to me about you and Whites and how memorable that was.
Yeah. Oh, look, Test cricket is something that I've always wanted to play. Test cricket is the ultimate. There's no doubt about it. Endurance, stamina, the mental aspect of the game, but also you have to have a little bit of power in there as well. So you've got all facets of what it takes to for an athlete to perform. The other thing is too, in 1996 when I debuted, I was a frontline batter for WA, bowling a little bit of leg spin. They took me over there, and I was meant to be the understudy to Shane Warne. And Warney did a shoulder injury at that stage, I think, and they brought McIntyre over. So I wasn't meant to be playing that first test match unless it was an absolute ragging spinning wicket. So when we got there, it's a spinning wicket. Yep, thank you, Hoggy. You're going to be playing. And I always said to myself, I haven't played international cricket until I get back in there. And it wasn't until 2003 that I really felt that I was actually an international cricketer. So I'm playing this test match in India. I'm bowling to Ganguly. Mark Taylor's out mid-off. And I decide to come around the wicket to Ganguly. Mark Taylor comes up to me, the captain, and goes, Hoggy, why are you coming around the wicket? I said, just something different. He goes, what's your plan to Ganguly? I said, I just hit a good line of length, mate. Yeah, but how are you going to get him out? I said, Mark, I'm no Shane Warne. I've only been bowling these for about a year and a half. I've got no idea. And he was really good about that. And he said, okay, we're going to set this field. We're only going to have 3 on the leg side. We want to make Ganguly sweep hard in front of square. So we'll have your deep man there, short mid-wicket, mid-on, and try and get him hit against the spin. First ball, 6 over mid-on. I'll go, Mark, this plan's working pretty well. He goes, no, mate, it was a good ball. It's just that Ganguly was able to just charge straight down the line there and hit you straight over. You didn't make him work for it. So this time, slow it down a little bit, still have revs on it, but go a little bit wider outside leg stump. I did. Ganguly try to sweep, top edge, caught first slip. Mark Waugh running 40 metres to take the catch from first slip. So my first wicket was a beautiful delivery, caught out first slip by Mark Waugh.
Yeah, you talk about the other variations. One of them did Sachin Tendulkar in Hyderabad. Apparently, that made so much news at the time. But just in a nutshell, can you explain to me what Sachin said and how much did you give him a send-off with regards to getting his wicket over there? And did Sachin actually give you a little signed picture? He did, right?
He did. If you see the picture too, which was taken, Gillies grabbed me because I wanted to go down to Sachin and sort of not give him a send off as such, but I wanted to do something a little jokingly because you know how you've got your pocket on your trousers, and I just wanted to run past him and go, "Oh, Sachin, you're in there alongside Brian Lara now, mate." So I wanted to sort of run past him, and Gilly stopped me. Because I get a little bit of excited, and I probably might have said something on top of it as well. But it's, you know, to get a wicket of Sachin Tendulkar is a big moment of your career, as well as Brian Lara, probably the 2 best batsmen going around.
Which was bigger?
Sachin, because I've only got him out once, and I think I've got Brian out about 9 times throughout my career. So sorry about that, Mr. Lara. So the next day, it's all over the papers. And right, okay, I've got Sachin Tendulkar. It's there. There's evidence of there. No one can deny it. And I think it was the last game of the year. We were playing a T20. I just walked into the Indian rooms and said, Sachin, can you sign this, please? He looked up at me, he smiled, and he said, yeah, all right. Well bowled, Hoggy. This will never happen again. Sachin Tendulkar. And it hasn't.
Okay, super. Brad, thank you so much for your time. You've been an absolute champion. Just a last couple of things in terms of rapid fires then.
Ooh.
And let's start with that because the few that our team has put out for me to ask you. So let's get on with the rapid fire. Right, Brad Hogg, here is the first one. What is it with your tongue? Is it because of a concentration thing that you stick it out all the time?
Yes, I always concentrate. The tongue always comes out with concentration.
Okay. What is your comfort food?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Interesting. Do you think the IPL is the best T20 franchise in the world? If yes, why?
Yes, because it's got the best cricketers.
And one of them is MS Dhoni. How long do you think he'll continue to play in the IPL? Because I think he's looking to break your record.
I think he's becoming a farmer and a coach. I think he'll play a big role with Chennai Super Kings for the rest of his life. I probably think this will be his last year.
Okay, Virat Kohli. Do you think he'll win an IPL in his career?
If he goes to Calcutta Knight Riders, he will.
Oh, come on. Finally, then, honestly, Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma, if you had to pick one.
I'd go Virat Kohli.
Why?
I just like I like his aggression. I think the biggest moment for me was just recently when he got that 50th half century, and Sachin Tendulkar was there. It was out Mumbai, wasn't it? But just the respect that he had for Sachin on that particular moment, that's a huge feat. He's probably, how can I put it? He's under scrutiny more than what Rohit Sharma is in the public eye as well. I love Rohit Sharma as well. It's very hard to compare.
I just want to ask you really quickly then, that 2023 ODI World Cup final, how was it perceived back home? How did you celebrate? Did you stay up watching that? Just talk to me about that a little bit.
That particular final, you guys got off to a great start. And I just felt the way the boys were out there, the Australian team were out there, they just looked as though they were on song. They looked unbeatable. And I think you guys had just smoked the first 4 overs from memory. But I just remember we were under a bit of pressure, bang. And then when we were batting, we lost early wickets. But I just felt, we've got this game. We've got this game. I just felt that. Yeah, but just seeing all the fans in blue up there, I'm disappointed for the fans that they couldn't see India win on their home soil. But at the end of the day, they got some good entertainment. And the next time that Australia play India, and if it's the opposite way around, and India get over the line, you're going to enjoy it a lot more as a fan, and the players are going to enjoy it as well because they've got one back on Australia. And that's the good thing about sport. And I think that's one of the best victories that we've ever had as an Australian team.
Yeah, Pat Cummins went out to say that he wanted to silence all those people, and he did. And just on Pat Cummins, do you think he's honestly one of the best ever captains you've had?
I wouldn't go down as saying he's one of the best captains that I've seen with Australia yet. He's still got a long way to go. We've had plenty of good captains in the past, but one thing that I do admire with Pat Cummins is Justin Langer was the coach there for a period of time. He was needed out that particular stage with what was going on with Australian cricket. He rejuvenated the perspective around of fans for Australian cricket. So Pat Cummins took that on board. He's probably up there with Mark Taylor in that aspect, where he's and Ricky Ponting and Steve Waugh, where he's bringing the team with him. And that's I'll go back to Gautam Gambhir, who we're talking about Kolkata Knight Riders. That's what he was doing there in the team of Purple. And that's why Kolkata had such success back then, because of the leadership of Gautam Gambhir.
Ashwin or Lyon, really quickly, who's the better off spinner?
Ashwin's got a lot more variety. Ashwin's very creative. Ashwin's obviously got more wickets. But then I'll say that Nathan Lyon has been playing on a lot more flatter wickets than any past Australian spinner. and any Indian spinner, and the job that he has done is incredible. So for me, I'll put them at equal status.
Yeah, comparing that. Who's winning the IPL really quickly this year?
I think Mumbai Indians are going to win it. I think they've got Boomer back. I think having Boomer back, Hardik Pandya coming in that middle order and giving them an extra option with the ball, and their top order is solid. I think your mob, RCB, I'm still worried about your bowling department. If you're going to win an IPL, you're going to win it in your bowling department, not so much your batting department.
Ouch. I'll take that with a pinch of salt. What about the World Cup then in the Caribbean? Do you think the Australians can actually do it again over there? Do you think India could?
I think India will be probably better suited to those particular conditions over there. I'm thinking it's going to be Australia and India in the final again. And I won't predict who wins. Obviously, I'll be going for the green and yellow, but I'm just hoping for another tight contest. And one thing I like about those particular tournaments, I like the associate nations that come in and upset the big nations. I want to see a bit more of that.
Yeah, 20 teams this time around. Thank you so much, Brad Hogg. You've been an absolute gem this morning to give us all your time and your stories and anecdotes. Just quickly, your first impressions of us as a channel?
I actually love it. I think it's great to have another competitor out there on the cricket side of things. You add different things to what the other channels have. I've looked at the website as well. I love the comparisons that you have between the two teams and the matchups. That's a great thing, and it's exciting to see people that love the game going out there and putting their spin on the game as well. The more of it, the better. And I think you guys are doing a fantastic job, and I've really enjoyed this interview as well. It's just been a great morning.
Brad Hogg, thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you to Cheryl as well. Big shout out to her.
Yeah, thanks very much, Avanish. Cheers.
Cheers.